When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
You are listening to the Smugglers Galaxy Podcast, my favorite podcast to listen to on long flights across the galaxy.
This is the way.
We wanted men.
Welcome to episode 160, four, Jason?
Yes.
It's 4. I'm driving, so I didn't have a chance to look it up yet. Of the Smugglers Galaxy Podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. It's Glen and Jason's right next to me. We're coming back from Chattanooga Con in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Sunday afternoon. It's a fun con. Jason, well, actually, let's just go with what we normally do. Jason, how's your week going?
My week was pretty big.
That's what you said.
Pretty big. So, someone reached out to me. I've bought some items from this individual before. He or she had a hard copy of a TIE Interceptor from the Action Fleet line and was asking if I'd be interested in that. And yes, I am. And so I was able to pick that up, and that came this week. And it's like a completely different mold than the production version. So it is a hard copy. It's hand-painted. It's a little bit flimsier, I would say, than the production version. I mean, it's not meant to be played with. It was meant to be, do we want to move forward with this? What changes do we want to make? When you look at it, I know there's that 4% loss in size for Kenner figures. This is a little bit bigger. I don't know if it's that 4% loss, but the entire mold is completely different, especially with the wings and the cockpit itself. So I guess this is just an early hard copy, and they made some changes along the way, but this might be the earliest version of the hard copy or of that item. So yeah, I got that. It was pretty phenomenal. And sorry for the tangent, but that ship meant a lot to me growing up. I've told this story before. My brother and I, we opened up the TIE Interceptor and we popped off the helmet of one of them, and it's George Lucas underneath. And we thought that was some sort of rarity, like only 1 in 100 got it or something like that. And again, this is pre-internet, so we had no way to look it up. But I had it meant so much to me that I had it with my prototypes. And so when people come over, I just be like, that's not a prototype, that just means a lot. But now I actually have the prototype in the case, so pretty cool. I'm ecstatic to have that.
Did it come with the pilot?
Did not come with any pilots, no. It's just the shuttle.
Womp womp.
I mean, I can't complain. It's an awesome piece.
No, it's a hard copy. Anytime you get a hard copy of something, it's awesome.
I also got my Black Series 40th anniversary Luke Skywalker, which I'm just going to be overly critical about Hasbro, so I'm just going to let it fly. Forget about it.
Do it!
No, he comes with the flap open, which at the end of Return of the Jedi, the whole movie, when we watched it for the first time, we all wondered, is Luke going to turn to the dark side? It gets pretty bleak there for a while. And at the end of the movie, the little white flap opens up to signify, no, he was always good on the inside. There was never any risk of that. And so they released the figure with that flap open, but it's on the Jabba the Hutt scene card back. So it just doesn't fit, but I'm being...
You're being a collector, man.
I don't need to be this way.
You're being a Star Wars fan. We're all assholes, Jason. It's okay.
I'm not. I'm not.
Now that you explained it to me, I understand why you're mad at it.
I'm not mad. I'm just I question the choice.
Right, I can understand because
I'm not losing sleep and I'm not thinking about it past this conversation. I promise you.
No, because you were doing it in the chat the other day too, man.
I just got it.
Okay, so you were fine. You were thinking about it for more than this conversation.
And then next week I won't even remember it.
Yeah, sure. Until somebody else brings it up.
Yeah.
Is that all you got?
And then we at the con today, I picked up a couple items for Rogue Fun, but that's about it.
Yeah, what did I get? I got some Hallmark ornaments. I went by the Hallmark store and picked up some ornaments. It's getting harder for me to spend money on those, I guess, because I'm running out of room, and they've kind of ran out of ideas because everything is the newer stuff, or you're getting the $60 ornament that to me is not worth $60. So I picked up the Boba Fett riding the Rancor, and then I got the Ahsoka. And as I went to check out, their system went down, so they spent like 15 minutes trying to get me a receipt. And I'm like, I have it on my iPhone that I just paid you. You can see that I paid you. And they were like, oh, we can't let you leave without a receipt in case you need to return them. And then later I'm like, you can't return Christmas stuff. You can't return the ornaments because I got yelled at last year for returning ornaments. And I had a doctor's appointment. I had like a half an hour to kill, so the half an hour dwindled down to nothing. And I'm like, I gotta go. And the lady just made me stay till they found my receipt. But yeah, and I think I picked up a Biff, a Back to the Future Biff today from the con.
The animated one. The
animated version, because I didn't have that, and it was only $5, so it was kind of hard to let that sit. And then I picked up a Wampa shirt, and I got to meet Vanessa Marshall, who was the voice of Hera in Star Wars Rebels, which was the main reason why we came up here today, because I've been waiting since 2017 celebration in Orlando to meet some of the Rebels cast, and it's just never... That was such a cluster... because you were waiting in line for hours to
2017.
get 2017.
Yeah, not today.
Not today.
Just clarifying.
Today was beautiful. Today was easy. We'll get into that in a second. But, Star Wars, it was my first Star Wars celebration. I assumed you could just walk up to the tables and throw money on the table and, not literally throw money on the table, but hand them cash and they would give you their autograph. But no, you had to, stand in line to buy the autographs, and you had to stand in line to get the pictures, and you had to stand in line for the autographs. So people were standing in line all day for autographs in 2017. So it didn't happen, and I think it might have been sold out at the time. But I didn't know any better. But it was really awesome meeting Vanessa Marshall. She was really cool. I got to talk to her for probably 15 minutes the first go round. Because when we got there, they'd been posting a bunch of her schedule throughout the day, and I saw she had a photo opportunity at 11:30, and then there was a panel at 12 o'clock, and then you're thinking, okay, they're going to go grab lunch. So, I didn't know how long she was going to be at the table, so we ran over there right at 11, and I was able to talk to her for a while, and we talked Rebels, and we talked... I got to tell her how much Rebels meant to me, and she was, you could tell that... It was really, you could tell she's a fan of the show, because she was like, I'm just reading it on paper, and she was like, the first time she's really seeing it is when we're seeing it. So, she's having the same reactions as we are. And, during the panel, it was her, James Arnold Taylor, and then the girl that played Satine, the lady that played... Say that again?
Anna Graves.
And there was somebody who came from, way overseas to meet her. The UK came to Chattanooga because Anna was going to be there, and there was 4 or 5. When you go to a con and you see a bunch of people dressed as Padme and Princess Leia, and, all the women of Star Wars, it was Satines there today, and there was probably 15 or 20 Satines dressed up today. So that was, and afterwards they had them. At the panel, they had them take pictures with her and everything. So that was cool to see. But, we got to see some insight of Rebels, and it was more like James Arnold Taylor kind of ran the panel, but he's used to doing that kind of stuff. So we got to see some inside the actor studio things, and found out that Vanessa found out about her having a baby at the same time everybody else did, like at the premiere of the final episode at Celebration or something. And it was just, we got to hear some really awesome stories for like 45 minutes from those three people. And yeah, it was a really cool panel.
Yeah, she was saying she was in the middle of eating a protein bar when she saw the epilogue to Rebels and that Jason was a thing. And so her face was kind of like, her jaw dropped in the middle of eating this protein bar because she didn't realize the whole time that she had a kid with Kanan.
Yeah. I kind of wanted to ask, when did her and Kanan have time to have a kid? But I guess they made time somewhere. But the actors don't know that kind of stuff. And there were kids around, so I didn't ask the question. But they were probably spent. There was a lot more questions, I think, than they had time for. But yeah, it was a really cool panel. Probably one of the better panels, because normally what I really enjoyed is this was a smaller con, but there was a lot of people there. So you still were able to take time with the talent and talk to them. So they were there wasn't a line of people, and even like James Arnold Taylor, our friend Susan, was getting his autograph while we were getting ready to leave, and he's spending 5 or 10 minutes with each person, and people are just being cool. So yeah, it was a fun experience.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Yeah, they addressed a little bit, Anna and James Arnold Taylor addressed the, I forget what the character's name, but in the Clone Wars, Satine has a nephew who calls her Auntie Satine, and looks a little bit like Obi-Wan Kenobi, but Bo-Katan doesn't have any kids, so whose nephew is that? Where does he fall into the line of things? And it might have been more interesting to make that nephew actually Satine and Obi-Wan's love child from the earlier years, and then have Rey be a descendant from that, Rey Skywalker, because when The Force Awakens, when Rey touches the lightsaber for the first time, she hears Obi-Wan Kenobi's voice, and it's Alec Guinness saying Rey, and then at the end you hear Ewan McGregor say, these are your first steps. So it could have been Ewan McGregor or Obi-Wan Kenobi guiding Rey, and she's actually Rey Kenobi. But they obviously went a different way with the movies.
I mean, they could have been going that way, and then Ryan. What? No, not Ryan. Who was
JJ.
Was it Ryan Johnson that did the second one, right?
Yeah.
He could have screwed things up so bad that JJ had to fix it.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know, we've mentioned this before. JJ likes the mystery box and creating all these mysteries. And then Ryan Johnson just literally threw it all away and said, "It's not a mystery. It's not a grand scheme. She's just a nobody." Yeah.
So, that was a fun panel. It was, and to see what I really enjoy is because you saw Anna, and you when you see somebody that did something and they're talking about it and they have the same emotions you do when they talk about like that action. Like, Vanessa was talking about Kanan's sacrifice, and you could see the emotion that she had with that, because that's an emotional time, and then the epilogue and stuff, and it those are two events that it's hard for me to talk about without tearing up, and you could see that in her eyes, and you could see, so it's a cool moment when it means something, when their work means something to them.
Yeah, and she also spoke about a time when Jason Isaacs played the Grand Inquisitor, and so it was the Rebels crew, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Vanessa Marshall and Tia and all the rest of them recording their lines, and Jason Isaac comes into the booth and he opens up this closet and there's a mini golf set there, and he puts it out and he starts putting around, and it's starting to make Freddie Prinze Jr. a little bit upset, because it's, you know, you're supposed to be professional. We're professional actors. We're supposed to be recording, and you're not supposed to be playing in the middle of this thing. But it actually helped the scene because Kanan was getting more upset with the Grand Inquisitor, and that's the way it was supposed to be. So it actually worked for the show, but it's a funny story.
Yeah. Shoot, there was something else that I was going to talk about, but I forgot.
James Arnold Taylor also said that he's on the list to do ADR for the movies. So he's been in all 5 movies, Disney era movies. And he said that him and Matt Lanter recorded some dialogue for The Force Awakens in that scene, specifically when Kylo Ren throws that fit and you see the 2 stormtroopers walking out, and then they see that Kylo Ren's having a fit and they turn right around. They start walking back. He said he recorded some dialogue for that, him and Matt, where they were talking about the latest T-16s and did you see the T-14s or whatever the case may be, T-18s I guess we're in the future now. And then Kylo Ren has his little fit, and the 2 stormtroopers say something like, "Oh nope, we're not going that way." But they obviously cut that from the movie, and it's just a silent scene. Still plays for the laughs, and I don't know if the dialogue was needed, but at one point, Obi-Wan and Anakin were recording lines for those 2 stormtroopers.
Yeah, I remember now. Vanessa was talking about how she was doing a recording session, and then Dave Filoni text or something. He's like, "Read this," and it was an intro to like season 3 or something. And she's like, she can't remember it because he's like, "All right, cool. Erase that and let me see your phone." So she's like, I don't even remember what it was because it was something I literally read and then had to delete. So it was sort of cool to see the mind of Dave Filoni, the way it works.
She also fact-checked it because she was like, it was in a trailer. Wasn't it the 2017 Celebration Rebels trailer? And she looked at you and you were like, "Yep." And she's like, "Yeah, that's what I thought."
Yeah, she was like, 2017 in Orlando, right? So that was kind of cool because we had talked about Orlando beforehand. So, it was cool having that little moment. It makes me kick myself because James Taylor Gray was in Anaheim, like at an after-hours event, and I should have gone meet him. But they're supposed to be going to Huntsville next year, so we will see if they have a Rebels reunion in Huntsville, and I will have to make that journey, make that pilgrimage. It is a pilgrimage, Jason.
For you, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good time. We did get to stop by the Tennessee Star Wars Collecting Club booth. So if you're in Tennessee, check them out on Facebook. We got to have lunch with Sam and Hannah and Susan. We just went to the Marriott across the street and sat down and talked Star Wars for an hour, hanging out and talking about plans for future events. And it was a good lunch. And it's always great to see people. We saw Josh. Josh Phillips does all the patches. He had a booth inside. So we talked to him for a while, and he's showing off some of his plans for the Tennessee Club. So it was a great event. I think the only thing as a toy collector, there wasn't that many toy booths in this place. I mean, there was probably like 4 or 5. Most of it was comic books, a lot of comic books, which was great to see because I guess if you're a comic book collector, those have kind of become a tertiary thing in booths. It's not really a primary thing anymore. And I mean, you'll get your 1s or 2s here and there, but for the most part, they're more of a tertiary sell. Toys have kind of taken the spotlight, but not this convention. There's a lot of comic books and also a lot of artists.
Yeah, it's getting harder and harder to walk past the artist booths. There was one guy that had done some original art on like wood or something, and he had a Mandalorian and Grogu that I was really thinking about, but I just had to keep walking. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of art. Had a couple of wood burning people, and a lot of digital art. But yeah, there was only 2 or 3 toy vendors, but I don't go. I go to these knowing there's not going to be a lot of toy vendors there. It's there just to kind of kill a day, and it was like $20 to get in. So, probably next year I'll swing back around and go again. They had They had Vanessa Marshall, the James Arnold Taylor lady, Anna Graves, and then they had Emily Swallow.
I didn't see her though.
Yeah, I didn't see her either. Now that I think about it,
I was looking for her booth. Maybe they put her in someplace else.
Yeah, she would have been the big name. But they had some pretty decent names for a little bitty convention like that.
They had someone who played the Shredder. I've seen him in other properties, I should say.
But yeah, I mean, you know, for it being a little convention that's only in its second year, everybody was, all the vendors, the couple of vendors we talked to, they seemed to be really happy with it, and they, you know, seemed to have a lot of business. That's a good flea market. We just crossed over the Georgia state line, and there's a little flea market. Like, we just crossed an exit with a couple of flea markets, and both of them were pretty decent.
Yeah. Anything else about the Comic Con or Chattanooga Con?
I enjoyed it. It was a good way to kill the day. I mean, nothing. Jesus, sorry. My car does this thing where there could be somebody a half a mile behind me, but they're approaching too fast, and they're like, "Car's coming!" So it freaked me out. No, I thought it was a perfect convention, perfect little convention. You know, $20, like I said, $20 to get in, and got to meet one of my, I guess, heroes. Somebody I've been wanting to meet for like 5 years.
You also got to see War Criminal.
Yeah, Chopper was there, so I got to take my picture with Chopper.
You were wearing your Chopper War Criminal t-shirt, so it was perfect to take a shot with Chopper himself.
Yeah. Do you have
Builder was there.
anything else to add?
No, it was a good little convention. I think it was definitely worth $20. There's a lot of local people, which is great because, you know, smaller cities, like, I don't mean smaller in a negative sense, it's just not the same size as Atlanta. To see smaller cities like that have their own con, I think that's a great thing to get people out, to give them a community to hang out and be with like-minded individuals. They don't have to drive all the way down to Atlanta or Nashville. So I thought it was great for what it is.
Yeah.
I do have a little bit of news, which I forgot to mention.
Uh-oh.
We just jumped right into the con talk. According to the Wrap, the Galactic Starcruiser never made money, and occupancy rates were lower than expected. This is according to 3 employees close to the project. 2 actors were always ready on set in case one couldn't perform. So if you have your captain character, there was another person dressed up in makeup, in costume, just ready to go out there if needed. So that's part of the reason why it was so costly. Surveys were sent out to the people that were on the final voyages, and they're either retooling the property to prepare it for a new iteration, or they were just looking for as much information as possible before they send it off. They want to know exactly, you know, what the cause of death, essentially.
Right. Yeah, I'd be down if they decided to either do it a one-night thing or a dinner play, or what am I thinking, Jason? A dinner and a movie, or dinner and a play? Dinner show. Dinner and a show. That's what I was looking for. But my thing is I wouldn't want to pay $150 to get into the park and then spend another $200 on dinner, and then you lose half a day in the park. I think if you can get in there and go to the dinner show without having to buy park tickets, so you'd have to figure out some kind of way to do that. But I'd be down, dude. Or even go there and spend a couple of hours, you know.
Yep.
Pay $100 and go spend 2 hours on the Halcyon. There's got to be a way they can block the rooms off and still have fun.
And we were talking to Sam, and Sam was saying that some people were buying the exclusive lightsabers to kind of help flip on the back end after they leave, to help finance their trip to the Starcruiser. And that just doesn't seem like an ideal situation where you need to buy the exclusive merch to flip to stay at a place. I mean, that just shows you right there that your property's too expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was doomed to fail. I did not realize that they had 2 actors for every role. I mean, that gets expensive right there, because I'm sure they're paying those people, you know, a fairly decent wage just to sit there.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I think Disney itself has some major marketing flaws. They need to get better at marketing pieces, because Solo, the poor performance to Solo was blamed on bad marketing. The Starcruiser, bad marketing. I mean, they had that shot of that kid from what was it, the Goldbergs?
Yeah.
That little clip from the Goldbergs of that kid. Like, who are you advertising to? Because clearly it's not resonating with anyone. I think they just need better marketing people running that side of the organization. They're a multi-billion-dollar company. And they can't market for crap.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was just a bad marketing. They needed to have, I think, 40-year-old men going, I'm playing Star Wars. And no, they just had the weird kid from the Goldbergs. And I think because I have heard podcasts where they talk to somebody who was on the Starcruiser, and he spends 45 minutes just totally saying how awesome of a trip it was. And they were like, you've done more in 45 minutes than the Disney company's done in 6 months promoting this thing.
Yeah.
So I think it was just somebody messed up. Heads must roll.
Yep. But
is there any other news?
that's all the news that I had. There's
Hasbro hasn't done any more repaints?
No, not since the hologram collection.
Okay.
Yeah, I just worry because when I see something like that, when they're repurposing tooling for holographic stuff, no paint applications, I'm just worried about the future of Star Wars.
Yeah, I'm getting there myself because it does feel like it's cooling, and I think people have found other collecting things to collect, and will they come back to Star Wars?
Yeah, when one of the movies comes out, I hope that they will flood the storage shelves again with more figures. It's very quiet right now, and I'm just like, if it goes into hibernation for a couple of years, as long as it comes out of it, I guess I'll be fine with it. I just don't want it to go quietly, without much fanfare. 40 years of collecting, just poof, gone.
Right.
Nearly 50 now.
Yeah. Well, we're coming up with, huh?
I think we're at 45 now.
Yeah, we're 45 because 27 is going to be 50th of A New Hope.
Yeah.
So that should be, we're hoping it'll be a big, I'm going to guess Celebration is going to be in Anaheim that year just because of what it is. And they are going to want to have that in California, not in Orlando. But you know what? I'll just take a week and go to Anaheim, which is something I've been wanting. It's on my radar anyway.
So, yeah, I mean, I got nothing to go on with that. I'm just like, I guess that's the pessimist in me saying, oh no, I don't like the hologram. What does this mean? It could be nothing.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It is. I don't like it either, but I don't know. It really bothers me the way things are going, and it bothers me that hologram was, like $35?
What was? The
hologram?
Yeah. $35 with the 30-minute light show.
Right. When, you've got a lot of other toy companies that are giving a $35 item that has way more things than Hasbro's giving you. So, it's just a little concerning. Hey, the Bigfoot Museum.
Yeah, I was disappointed at that. I was disappointed at the Bigfoot Museum.
Oh, so when'd you go to the Bigfoot Museum?
We went up to the mountains a while ago to float down the river in an inner tube. And it was rained out, it was thundering, and they said, sorry, we can't let you go. So on our way back, we're like, we got to do something. And we stopped at the Bigfoot Museum. And it was a lot of replication of casts, no original casts. It was, it's the best you could do with a mythical creature, I guess. If you're not a believer, what kind of museum are you gonna have for dragons? It's the same unicorns, Bigfoot.
I'm just glad it was only $8 to get in.
Yes.
Because if it was any more, if it was $10, I think I'd have been mad.
Yeah. No, it was worth the $8.
Because you were in and out in like a half an hour.
It's only 20 minutes away from Rogue Fun, so if you're... Is it 20 or is it further than that?
It's about an hour.
Yeah, so
it's a little bit further.
I'm way off.
Yeah. It's not worth the hour drive if you're coming to Rogue Fun.
It's not. You go to the aquarium.
Yeah. Go to the Atlanta Aquarium.
Georgia Aquarium.
Georgia Aquarium.
I guess that's all we've got.
Yeah. Nothing exciting, man.
It's just a quiet week. Thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy. I could talk. Smugglers Galaxy Podcast. If you could, please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to your podcast, if it's allowed. It really helps us out and helps people find our show. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Send us an email or message us. We love feedback, and we'd love to make you part of our show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo, and thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People, collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Sabine will be on next week. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community. This is the way.
This is the way.